Welcome to the second episode in my series of trying to get every achievement in Hollow Knight. If you haven't seen the first one, go ahead and watch that one, or don't, I don't really care. But without further ado, let's get into it. If you missed the first one, I'll go ahead and catch you up. We left off with only getting two abilities, that being the Dash and Vengeful Spirit. But right now, we're going to head into Soul Sanctum to get our next major ability. As we're making our way up to the boss room, we run into this little mini boss guy and we go ahead and take him out. These guys are more annoying than they are difficult with all their teleporting. They only really get hard when you add other enemies mixed in with them. By the way, the charm setup right now is Shaman Stone and Soul Catcher. After a whole bunch of platforming and a bunch of those annoying teleporty guys, we make our way into the boss room. I always thought it was funny the way this guy ominously comes from the background. This fight honestly isn't that bad, but the one that's actually hard is his Dream Nail fight. I forget what he's called though. Soul Master is that one teleporty mini boss's bigger, stronger, older brother. I remember when I first played this game, this area gave me so much trouble. And getting back up here to fight him was just the biggest pain. You can see when he's in his staggered state right here, soul's actually leaking out of his body, which is a really cool little detail. And just like that, we take Soul Master down. Or did we? Soul Master has this fake out little moment where he makes you think that you got the ability, but then he spawns in here, crashes through the window, and has a little second mini phase. I honestly don't remember if this got me on my first playthrough, but I'm pretty sure it didn't. Put it in the comments if Soul Master tricked you on your first playthrough or not. And just like that, we take him down first try, but for real this time. After taking him down, we add another trophy to our collection. And he gives us our ability, but for real this time. Desolate Dive is like a downward slam, but honestly, only the upgraded version is worth using. After our little trip in the Soul Sanctum, we make our way to Crystal Peaks to pick up our next movement ability. But there's this guy, the Crystal Guardian, sitting on our bench, so we gotta go ahead and take him out and show him who's boss. I somehow died my first attempt fighting him, which is kind of embarrassing. That's why you can see me kill my shade there. See how easy he was? We took him down in 5 seconds. I don't know how I died my first try to him. After making our way to the very top of Crystal Peaks, we complete a little platforming section and pick up our next ability that we need, the Crystal Heart. This ability allows you to fly across the whole screen without taking any breaks, but you have to charge it up for a long time. Remember when I mentioned that a certain mini-boss is only difficult once you started adding more enemies? They only really get hard when you add other enemies mixed in with them. Well, yeah, we're at that mini-boss now. This guy was so annoying, but don't worry, the reward is 100% worth it. I died 3 times to him, which honestly, all things considered, isn't that bad, but that was definitely more than I was hoping for. The part that makes him so difficult is that the guy that spawns in the air always spawns in right next to you, and he's not even one shot. And he somehow manages to spawn in at the perfectly wrong time every single time. and after 3 attempts, we take him down. In the end, it was worth it because we get an upgrade to our vengeful spirit called the Shade Soul. Finding our way back into Crystal Peaks, we're going to come up to this little miner guy and do a super cool trick to get into an area that we're not supposed to have access to yet. As we get to the top of the Crystal Peaks and to the top of the Hollow Knight world, we pick up a pale ore which we can use to upgrade our nail later. Here's a cool little cutscene that you're meant to see at the beginning of the game, but we just passed by it. Making our way into the Royal Waterway, we stumble upon Dung Defender's Arena, one of the coolest bosses in this game. He has one of my favorite boss soundtracks. Honestly, I don't even want to voice over it because it's such a short fight and the music's so good, so I'm just gonna let this play out. If you're good enough at this part, you can just keep bouncing him up in the air until he dies. After killing Dung Defender, we pick up a trophy and a charm. After a long journey to the Abyss, we use our new Crystal Dash to get across and enter the boss room of the Broken Vessel. He's blocking the path to the next ability that we need. Honestly, I don't know if it was because of my charm setup, but this fight ended up being super easy. His long intro makes him seem like he's going to be super hard for no reason. The only part that's semi-difficult is when he starts spawning in all his things, but honestly you can just damage tank through that. The trick to fighting him is to just stay on the ground, always take out the guys that spawn in, and know whether to jump over or dash forward. And just like that, Broken Vessel goes down, we pick up a trophy, and we get our wings, which allows us to double jump. Since Broken Vessel went down so easily, I decided to go back and dream nail him to fight Lost Kin. Already, from just his intro, you can tell he's going to be way faster than Broken Vessel. He took me around 5 or 6 attempts to beat. The reason that he's so difficult is because he's just Broken Vessel in 2 times speed. The only difference other than him being way faster is that he doesn't have that phase where he summons all the little orange balls. The hardest part about this fight is just losing your rhythm. He's so jumpy, so the trick to beating him here is just to stay on the ground. Same thing with Broken Vessel. And just like that, Lost King goes down and we pick up ourselves another trophy. We also get a trophy for collecting 600 essence. All the way back in Green Path, I stopped by the Hunter to pick up the Hunter's Journal because we skipped them earlier to get to Hornet faster. You need it for a trophy. While I was down here, I fought the massive Moss Charger, and you can guess how that went. The best part about fighting him is the satisfying sound of your nails smacking against him. This is my favorite secret artifact that I always pick up. Remember that pale ore that we picked up at the top of the map? Well, now we get to use it. Since we're in the area, I stopped by the relic shopkeeper guy to sell all of mine. I had a lot, so this actually took surprisingly long to sell them all. You can only sell them one at a time, and he yaps after every single one you sell, so this is what makes it take long. With all our money that we just got, we pop by Sly's shop, buy a vessel fragment, and get a trophy for picking up 3 of them. With all our new upgrades, we head over to the Watcher Knights, one of the hardest required fights in this game. Pro tip that I'm pretty sure most people know, you can actually break this wall up here, break down the chandelier, and that'll kill him, so that you have to fight 5 instead of 6. The Watcher Knights have pretty simple movesets, and you can see this here when you're only fighting one of them, but you add 2 into the mix, and that's when things start getting complicated. With all our upgrades, they're really not that hard to kill. If you have the Dream Nail, you should definitely Dream Nail them while they're still waking up so that you can get a little bit of soul. My best tip for them is to play patiently, keep them both on the screen, and when you're using Vengeful Spirit, make sure that you're hitting both of them at the same time. A lot of people struggle pretty bad on these guys, but honestly I think it's just because the fight takes long and there's not really any good healing opportunities. With the Watcher Knights down, that puts us at 1 out of the 3 main story bosses complete. After consuming Luri and the Watcher, we pick up a trophy for defeating her. Since I feel like going for another main story boss, and I don't have Isthmus tier, I do this super cool speedrunner skip. We run into Quarrel right outside the building. He might be important later. After making our way through the teacher's archives, we run into the next boss that we need to fight, Umu. Honestly, I'm not going to show that much of this fight because it's pretty boring and it's just a waiting game. Quarrel's such a W for helping you out in this fight, but I really wish he was there for the Pantheons. Umu's somehow more annoying there than she is here. But she's still pretty easy, so just like that, we take her down. After entering Monomon the Teacher's Dream, we pick up our next trophy for defeating her. Way over at Kingdom's Edge, I run into this guy named Bardoon. I've actually never seen him before, and he has some really weird dialogue suggesting that he might be some type of higher being, because when you dream nail him, he knows that you're trying to dream nail him. Right by the Pale King's corpse, we have our rematch with Hornet. She wants to test our strength one more time to see if we're worthy of having the King's brand. Her main differences are that she's a lot faster, and she actually parries you if you try and just spam through her. In her second phase, she summons these little spikes that if you hit them, they disappear. I remember when I first fought her, she gave me a bunch of trouble, and I can't even imagine the people who missed that hidden bench. My strategy for beating her is to just hit those little guys that she spawns in out of the way as soon as they spawn in. But other than that, it's just like the regular Hornet fight, but in 2 times speed. And with 1 HP remaining, we take Hornet down for the final time and pick up another trophy. We also get the King's brand, which that's what Hornet was protecting. This thing has really important lore significance. After talking to this goofy little guy named the Little Fool, he tells us about the 3 trials, which all 3 of them are tied to a trophy. So you know we're gonna do them. The first trial is pretty easy. The only standout moment is fighting 2 Gruz mothers at once. these trials are pretty much just tests of endurance and making sure you can keep your HP up. After beating them, you get good rewards, which makes it pretty worth it. With the first trial complete, we pick up our trophy and our charm notch and get straight into the second. The second one is where the difficulty starts ramping up. Some standout moments were fighting this jumpy guy in a really close quarters arena, and this fake grub that they try and trick you with. But after completing it second try, we get a bunch of Geo, a pale ore, and most importantly, our trophy. Using the 2 pale ore that we just picked up, and all our Geo, we pay 2,000 and upgrade our nail to the second level. As this video comes to a close, the final trophy that we get for this episode is just for sitting with Coral in the Blue Lake. If you have any feedback about pacing or anything whatsoever, leave it in the comments. And with that said, have a great day and stay tuned for part 3.